This is our reading lesson today. As you can see, I'm making my own little board here that we use usually at the school. But remember, we read Tops and Bottoms yesterday by Janet Stevens, and we're going to do some retelling today. Retelling says readers can retell stories to help others understand what the story is about. So we're going to retell our story. My printer was deciding to wake up this morning. We're going to retell our story with our little cards that we normally do. The only difference is you won't have these at your house this time. We'll just have, you'll just have your cards here on the wall so you can kind of rethink the story as you're going. I'm waiting for my printer to finish going back to sleep or whatever it's doing. So, Bear was lazy. Now, if you look up here, this is a little different because I don't normally have these on our board because I have a different flip chart that we use. But we have the beginning of our story. That's a little pot with a little bitty sprout. We have the middle where it's grown a little bit, but we don't have the whole picture yet. And then we have the end with the big flower. That's how it all ends up. So Bear was lazy. That was the very first thing we learned about Bear. And I think that should go under the beginning of the story because that's a very important fact we need to know at the beginning of the story, that Bear was lazy and Bear didn't want to do the work. And we also learned at the beginning of our story that Hare and his family needed food. And they had a very large family and they wanted to plant their own crops. They didn't have enough land to plant their own crops, so they had to go to borrow from Bear. So this goes under the beginning of our story. So at the beginning of our story, we remembered that Bear was lazy and that Hare had a lot of people in his family and needed a lot of help getting food and supplies for his family. So in the middle of our story, at the very beginning of our story, we kind of can figure out Bear's lazy and Hare's clever. That's the two pieces that we figured out pretty quickly on. So Bear and Hare have a conversation, and Hare says, hey, you know, what do you want, tops or bottoms? I'll do all the work. You just stay there and let me use this field. And he said, I want tops. So that is in the middle, beginning of the middle of our story. This was the beginning. Now we're into the middle. So the Hare family worked and gave Bear the tops, and they kept the bottoms. So if you remember in our story that they planted carrots. The carrots were the bottoms, and they gave him the leaves from the top. Bear wasn't very happy with that. He didn't like that. So Hare says, you know what, I'll make another deal with you. This time I'll plant a new field in a new set of crops in that same field. What do you want this time? And Bear says, well, you're not going to trick me. I want bottoms. Bottoms. So Bear asks for bottoms. Okay? This is all still part of the middle part of our story. We had our beginning. They set up our characters pretty well. Now we're in the middle. So after he chose bottoms, what happened with Hare? Do you remember? All right. Hare actually planted plants that grow on the top, like broccoli, lettuce, and other things that grow on the top, and he gave Bear the roots. Bear didn't like that. Bear was not happy with the roots being given to him. So this time, he said, you're not going to trick me again. You are not going to trick me. I'm going to get the tops and the bottoms. And so Hare says, it's a done deal, Bear. We'll do that. The tops and the bottoms. So that's still part of our middle part of our story. Tops and bottoms. So Hare gets the tops, Bear gets the tops and the bottoms. So this time, Hare, being very clever, he plants corn, where corn grows in the middle because you have the little tassels at the top and the roots at the bottom. So he planted corn. So Hare got all the corn and Bear got all the other parts of the corn that he didn't really need or didn't like. So now Bear's mad. And he's like, I'm done with this Hare. I'm not making any more deals. I'll do the work myself. So this is getting to the end of our story. Bear will do the work himself. So we'll put him over here into the end. And then at the end of the story, remember the Hare family had enough food that they actually used it to open a vegetable stand and they were able to buy back the land that they lost from Bear when they had to sell their land. So they ended the story pretty well. And Bear learned a good lesson about you have to do hard work, your own work, in order for it to really pay off for you. So you have the beginning of the story that set up our characters. We know how Bear is. We know what Pear is like. We have the middle of the story that kind of gave us the problems in the story. There wasn't a huge problem in the story other than Hare kept tricking Bear each time, and Bear was getting frustrated. He would think he was outsmarting Hare, but he really wasn't. And then right here at the end of our story, Bear decides to do his own work and make dig his own field and make his own crops. And then Hare, after his hard work in the field, was able to buy back land and do his own work in his own field. So this is how we retell the story, because readers can retell stories to help others understand what the story is about. It's a good way of practicing comprehension. So today there's not really an activity with reading other than when you read your books, use your conferring menus. One of them's for fiction and one of them's for nonfiction. As you're reading a book, your choice of a book today, use those questions to help your student ask those questions with your student and have your student answer them. Just have them practice thinking about the story. What happened first? What happened next? What happened? What happened at the end? Anything that will get them a sequence of events going in that order, that will help with retelling a story. Also, really quickly, I wanted to share this with you. If you're having trouble logging into your account, you'll make sure that you put your child's username is at the end of the bottom of your quick card. Then you'll have your the password is your two-digit month, two-digit day, and four-digit year of their birthday, your child's birthday. And then make sure that you have the access code Pickens in your in the code, because it won't work. And it only works for students that are part of School District Pickens County, so it won't work any other way. And you're looking for these two. This is Dreambox right here. This is the math one that we use. And this is Imagine Learning. And that'll be under the class link. So if you could work on that today, let me know if it works. If it doesn't work, please let me know. But that way you can have access to that, to those resources. I love you guys, and I'll see you in a few minutes for writing.